Welcome to Cancer Support Community Live in a liminal space that is this webinar. So my name is Joslyn Hitter, and I am a mindfulness meditation teacher. I teach at a bunch of places, Cancer Support Community being one of my favorites. And I can't see any of you, but I'm imagining that some of you have been in my classes before in the Mind Body Studio, in our West Los Angeles space. And I'm imagining that you're all cozy in your homes, in your living rooms, on your couches. And I'm just delighted to be here to talk about really one of my favorite things in the world to talk about, which is mindfulness meditation, which is such an amazing thing to be doing right now. It is a wonderful support for me in my life every day of this shelter in place, quarantine, these particular conditions that we are living in. So just a little orientation to how we'll be spending our time together. I'm going to go over a bunch of different things. I have my list here in front of me, so when you see me looking down, I'm just checking my list and making sure that I'm delivering what I promised, and that I'll be setting you up to start your own home practice well. So one of the first things I'll be covering is some of the ambivalence about starting a mindfulness meditation practice that I'm sure you're all experiencing. I know I've gone through that before. Do I want to sit? Do I not want to sit? Do I want to meditate? I don't know. So we'll go over that. We'll talk about intention setting, which is really helpful for being successful with a home practice, or really successful for starting any type of new habit, something that we don't normally do. We'll talk about achievable goals and how to be gentle and firm with yourself so that you're encouraging yourself and not using mindfulness meditation as another way to be hard on yourself. You're like, oh, I never finish anything I start, and things like that. Let's not have mindfulness be one of those many things that we berate ourselves about. Or let's just stop berating ourselves altogether. That might be a whole different class. How to reward yourself, be a cheerleader for yourself, and as well as to have some accountability. And then a bunch of resources. I'm going to go over a lot of resources. There's so many wonderful apps out there to support you in having a mindfulness practice at home that I'll share with you. And then it's not working. I meditated and it didn't work. It's not working. I'll talk about that a little bit. And then at the end, I'll be answering questions. So you have a little Q&A box, tab, icon at the top of your screen. For me, I'm on an iPad, and so it's on the top right of my screen. But I'm sure we're all on different devices. So wherever you find that Q&A, you can write your questions in there. And then our fearless leader, Shannon LaCava, who I'm sure you all know, and to know Shannon is to love Shannon. So I'm sure you all know her and love her. She will be sort of clustering the questions around themes, and then she will share those themes with me, and then I'll be answering the questions in like a bundle. I think it will just be easier that way for me, and it tends to be what happens when we're live in classes, that somebody asks a question and you're like, oh, that was my question. I had the same question. So that generally happens in these spaces, and so this way she can sort of cluster them, and then I can answer them all together. Yeah. So that's what's happening. So how to start a home mindfulness practice. So the first thing is it starts now. Right now, you're starting your home practice. Today, right now. It's already happening because you came to this webinar. So it's already started. And now I want you to check in with yourself when I say that. Some of you might be like, oh, good. Yay, I'm already doing it. And some of you might be like, uh-oh, no. This is not actually something I want to be doing. I don't actually want to meditate. So this is a really good place before you decide that you're going to start waking up at 6 a.m. and the alarm goes off and you're like, nope, not happening. Now already begin to feel how there might be this push-pull about wanting to meditate or not. And that's totally normal. I don't know how many detox cleanses I've signed up for, New Year's resolutions. I mean, there's this part of us that really knows what's good for us. Like, I'm gonna eat kale every day. I'm gonna walk 10,000 steps a day. I don't even know how many activity tracker, like Fitbit things I've gotten in my life. Like, we know these things are good for us. And then there's this part of us like, no, I'm really comfortable. And I like being comfortable. And it's hard out there. And the conditions are overwhelming. And I'm already feeling all of my feelings. And I don't want to sit with them. And this is totally, totally 100% normal. So there's going to be this push-pull. So just feel that push-pull now before we even talk about the rest of it. Just let that be there and know that that ambivalence is normal. So here are some of the basics about a mindfulness meditation practice, just no matter what. I'm going to be really honest with you. Doing nothing is incredibly challenging. Yeah, I know. Shocking. But doing nothing is really challenging. There will always be something that seems like it would be way more important or way more interesting that you could be doing. So you'll get yourself ready. You'll get ready to sit. You're like, okay, I'm going to meditate now. It's going to happen. I'm going to meditate. And then you'll be like, oh, wait, let me just check my email. Wait, let me just get a snack. I should have coffee. It'd be better if I have coffee before I meditate. I should take a shower before I meditate. Like, that will just happen. There will always be something more interesting that would seem really important. Someone needs something somewhere. There's always a text message you haven't responded to. There's always a thing. So just know that's going to happen. That's going to happen. It's also really boring sometimes. Sometimes it's just, you're just meditating and you're like, it's supposed to be peaceful. It's supposed to be calm. I'm supposed to feel joy, bliss, I'm supposed to just bathe in white light. Yeah, no. Sometimes it's just boring. It's just really boring. I'm just being real with you. Being real. It just sometimes feels like nothing's happening. Like, it's not even boring, but it's just not interesting. It just feels like, am I meditating? Is this what meditation is? I don't know. It just feels like nothing is happening. It just feels kind of neutral and bland. And you're like, why would I want to do that? Yeah, that's why I'm just laying it out there for you. And yeah, your suspicion that you might feel a lot of things when you sit still, and a lot of things might come up, things you've avoided, things you didn't know things you didn't know you had feelings about, conversations that didn't bother you at the time, but now, like, that's all you can think about. That might happen. It could happen. Just being honest. This is what you're getting. This is what you're signing up for. And you knew there was an and, right? You knew there was like an and coming. And this is the best possible thing you could be doing with your time. It really is. It really is. Learning how to not act on those hundreds of thousands of impulses of like, I should do this, I should do that. Like, there's always something better. There's always something more interesting. There's always something I could be doing. That drive towards productivity, towards efficiency, towards doing, towards staying busy. It's not helpful. It's really not helpful. It's the cause for a lot of stress and discontent and despair and an inability to just be and be peaceful and happy, to feel good about oneself. So sitting there, watching your mind tell you of all the things you could possibly be doing and then not acting on it, there is a relief that comes like, oh, I don't actually have to do any of those things. I don't have to be puppeted by my mind and bossed around by this little robot in there that tells me I have to, like, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. I don't have to listen to that. Ooh. So meditation really teaches us how to relax. It's really, really good for you mentally, physically. And it's actually really interesting. The reason why it can be boring at first or feel like nothing is happening is because we're so used to being constantly stimulated. If you're anything like me, I could watch Netflix, be going through my Instagram and having a conversation with someone like all at the same time. Like that's a lot of stimulation. That's a lot of multitasking. The nervous system becomes fried from that type of behavior. So actually when we begin to sit still and settle into this nothingness, it's actually really interesting. Like I said, you'll remember conversations you didn't know bothered you. You'll learn about yourself. You'll learn about things that matter. You'll feel these feelings that you've been running from in many ways, but that you'll actually notice you have capacity for them, that you won't become overwhelmed, that you won't like fall into like a puddle of sadness and despair and grief, that you can actually sit through it with some buoyancy and breathe with it, that you're more resilient than you ever thought possible, that you have more capacity for stillness than you ever thought possible, and you will feel better. You'll find that you have this compassion for yourself and your feelings and compassion for other people. And this quality that we talk about in mindfulness, which is equanimity, which is being in balance, which is feeling connected to other people without having to take on their problems as your own, feeling connected to yourself with spaciousness, seeing all your faults and all the things that bother you and, oh, why did I say that? And not attacking yourself. This is this capacity that grows magically, completely mysteriously by sitting there doing nothing. I don't know how it works, but it does. I can tell you. So I've been sitting here doing nothing for over 12 years, for long, long periods of time. It's mysterious, it's magical, and it's really, really amazing. And so I highly encourage you to give it a try. Um, and in terms of the scientific components, neuroplasticity. So what we practice grows. So at first, it's going to feel like, it might feel impossible at first. I'm just going to be real. It might feel impossible. It might feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh my God, this is so weird. How do people do this? How did that girl in that webinar, how did she do that? I don't get it. She seemed like so optimistic and hopeful. I'm like, this is just too much for me. It takes practice. So we're all stuck at home. We're all in this together. So you can think about all the people stuck at home meditating with you. Because there's a lot of us meditators out here that are sitting here doing nothing with you. So the more you do it, the easier it will become, like anything else. But especially this, because your brain will start to form pathways that will support this behavior. And yeah, it's exciting. I'm really excited for you. Okay, so the practice starts now, right now, today. The mindfulness meditation home practice begins. So it starts with you determining what your intention is for this time period that you're going to take on of developing a home practice. So I invite you to just, wherever you are, you don't have to do anything special, but whatever you are, whatever you're doing, just reflect. Like you saw this come out in the email blast, you read about it online, and there was something that made you want to come to this webinar. Maybe you don't have a lot of other options. We don't have a lot of other options, but something called you. You're like, oh, mindfulness practice at home. That could be something I could be doing during this time period, during this quarantine shelter in place that we're all living in. So just reflect. What part of you, that part of you that wants to begin to meditate, to practice mindfulness, connect to that. So reflect, what is your intention for starting a practice, for practicing mindfulness? And maybe write it down, maybe, make a little note in your phone, write it on a little scrap of paper, write it on your hand. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Say it to somebody else in the room. Hey, here's my intention for starting a mindfulness practice. Will you help me remember? What's calling you? What part of you is calling forward to engage with mindfulness practice? Our practice starts now. So, some logistics. Two important things. When are you going to practice every day? And where are you going to practice every day? So, the when. This is my suggestion. This. You can take this or leave it. In my experience, this is what works the best. Mornings. First thing. Before you have coffee, before you read the news, before you check your phone, before you do anything. You're gonna roll out of bed and maybe go to the bathroom, splash some water on your face. You're like, I'm awake, right? And you're gonna sit down and you're gonna meditate. So this actually starts the night before. So the night before, you're gonna get your spot all set up. And I'm gonna talk more about the where, but this is just the when for right now. And the night before, you're gonna set your alarm 15, 20 minutes before you would normally wake up. This might mean that you have to go to bed 15 to 20 minutes before you would normally go to bed. I mean, yes, during this time period, you could probably take a nap. I don't know, maybe many of you are working from home and are just as busy as you would normally be in your daily life, plus the kids and everything else. So 15, 20 minutes before you would normally get up, you're going to set your alarm. When the alarm goes off, you're just going to wake up. Don't think about it. Like I said, you will always find something more interesting. and will always be a reason not to meditate. Always, no matter what. There's always something better to do. That's just how the mind works. So 15 to 20 minutes before you normally get up, you're going to get up. If you live with other people, especially children, and they get up early, you're going to have to get up before they get up. If your spouse is upset with this idea that you're getting up early and they can't cuddle with you in the mornings, you're going to get up anyway, and then you're going to sneak back in bed for the cuddles. Okay? It'll be okay. And you're going to remind them that you're doing this for your own well-being and that will benefit them. It's totally possible to meditate in the afternoon, to meditate in the evenings. I do that. I sit several times a day. And my morning sit is always my longest. I always have the most clarity. It's the most peaceful. It's my easiest sit. The afternoons and the evenings, especially in the evenings, especially before bed, it can be a good idea if you're having trouble sleeping and you feel like you just need to kind of like rinse off the day mentally and energetically, especially if you're a mental health worker and you're seeing a lot of people who are in a lot of anxiety and distress. I just feel like we're all seeing and talking to a lot of people that are in anxiety and distress. So it could be good in the evenings too. But again, all of those reasons that I talked about of why you're too busy to meditate will compound in the evenings and you just might be too tired. So if it seems like as I'm sharing this that you do need something in the evenings to sort of reset, I'm going to encourage you to sit again in the evenings, but to have that time in the mornings. The morning is just the most reliable. And if you sit in the mornings, you are more likely to sit in the evenings. But if you're just sitting in the evenings, you're likely to get caught up with other things. And it'll be more difficult to build that habit of sitting every day and having a home practice. So again, this is just what's worked for me and for most people. But maybe you have we're all different. So maybe you have more energy in the evenings. Maybe you are living alone and there's a lot of distraction in the evenings and you're kind of looking to fill that time and you've watched everything on Netflix and you need something else to do. Evenings could be good to kind of reset the nervous system at the end of the day. And first thing in the morning before anything else happens, while everyone else is still sleeping, before you check your phone, before you do anything, just having those 10, 15 minutes. We'll talk about the length of time a little bit later. I'll come back to that. Just to sit, just to meditate. Also, everyone in the world is meditating in the mornings that meditates. The monastic communities, all the practitioners. There's something just really special about the mornings, this freshness, this dewness, that there's like a natural hope in the beginning of the day. Personally, I like to sit like at dawn as early as possible and just watch the day begin. I feel optimistic. I feel like it could be a good day. And there is just this like liminal space between being asleep and being awake, where the mind is just really calm and settled. It's easy. It's an easy time to meditate mentally. Yeah. So that's the when that I recommend. The where, establish a space. So it can be like the tiniest corner. And again, because I am recommending that you just roll out of bed and do this before you do anything else, it can be in your bedroom, like a corner of your bedroom. I know a lot of people that have like small children that actually meditate in their closet because it's where their children won't find them in the mornings. So that's a possibility. It could be in your living room. It could really be anywhere, but it's a really good idea to have a designated space where all you do there is meditate. So the couch in front of the television, sure, you could meditate there, but are you likely to start watching television or be distracted? Yes. So if you have like a chair that you can just put into the corner, I personally really like to sit in front of a window, even though I'm meditating with my eyes closed. It's kind of weird, but I like being close to nature. I have a beautiful tree outside my window. This is actually where I meditate. I just turn around and face the other way. But yeah, I mean, even like at your dining room table, you can just maybe angle the chair differently. So you're looking out the window, or a corner of your bedroom, like I said. A lot of people like to sit on the floor. You don't have to sit on the floor. There's nothing special about sitting cross-legged. It's just what a lot of meditators do. It's comfortable for a lot of us because this tradition comes out of a yoga tradition. So people are a little bit more flexible. They've been doing lots of yoga. So if you are flexible and you're comfortable sitting cross-legged on the floor, great. If you're more comfortable sitting in a chair, great. I actually know a lot of meditators that who have busy lives that just sit up in their bed. Again, if you're alone in the bed or your spouse is not likely to bother you, or your partner or whomever is there, that's an option. You could just sit straight up in the bed, maybe even sit on the pillow, lean against the bed frame. That's totally fine. I encourage you to try different things over the course of time and see what works for you. But having a designated place that you can go to, and then having that place be kind of neat and tidy and setting that up the night before. So the night before, kind of getting everything ready in that little spot. So if you're going to be pulling a chair in front of a window or into a corner, or bringing a chair into the bedroom, that's going to be where you sit, like right next to the bed or something like that. Doing all of that the night before. Having a little blanket, a nice cozy blanket or something there to wrap yourself in, because it's a little chilly in the mornings. Putting that on the chair, putting that on the pillow, on the floor, whatever it is, getting all of that ready. Maybe tidying it up a little bit so it's clean, so it's welcoming. Basically, when that alarm goes off and you just get up, it's going to be a place you want to go to. You'll see it like, oh, okay, I could sit there for 10 minutes. It won't be that bad. Yeah, I could totally do that for 10 minutes. It's fine. So that's the kind of energy you want. You want to have it feel welcoming, inviting. You're more likely to get there. We need you to get there. You need to get in the position, in the posture in order to meditate. So we want to do everything we can to make that successful. You going from the bed to the meditation spot easily. so easily. Having it be inviting, like you want to go there. If it's not, like going to work or I don't know, the dentist or whatever it is that you don't want to go. Okay. Let me just check my notes about that. So start modestly, right? I know you're all thinking, how long? How long do I have to be there for? You said 10 minutes, you said 15, you said 20. I don't know what your lives are like. I don't know how much time you have. So the quantity of time that you spend meditating is not as important as how consistently you can spend that amount of time meditating. Again, neuroplasticity. We want your brain to support this new behavior. We want you to grow neurological pathways that support peace and calm and equanimity and compassion. And that happens with repetition. So the most important thing is the consistency. If you can consistently do 10 minutes, if you're like, yeah, I'm not working right now, I'm alone at my house, I have all the time in the world, 10 minutes is great. 15 minutes is better. 20 minutes is better if it's going to be consistent. But if you're going to sit 5 minutes one day, 10 minutes one day, 7 minutes another day, 20 minutes and then not for 3 days, no, take the 7 minutes every day, right? Whatever the average is, that's what you want. So what I would say is to start small. Start with 5 minutes, okay? If you're doing 5 minutes every day and every day you're like, I could sit longer, 7 minutes. So every third day, if that amount of time is working and you feel like you could sit longer, I want you to add a couple minutes. So if you start with 5 minutes, and then on Thursday, you're like, I could sit longer, 7 minutes. Do 7 minutes until Sunday. If you still feel like I could sit longer. Monday, start doing 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes till Thursday. You're like, I could sit longer. Then do 12 minutes. Okay? So we want to achieve these goals. We want to feel like it's comfortable, like it's working, like it's okay before we start adding in time. If you just do 5 minutes for 2 weeks, great, fantastic, amazing. 5 minutes for 2 weeks is great. It's good. Consistency. We want you to be successful. Okay? And then I would like you to commit to a certain trial period. Okay, so I think 2 weeks. It takes about 2 weeks to start a new habit. So I want you to try 5 minutes for 2 weeks. And like I said, if after 3 or 4 days you're like, I could do more, adding it in incrementally, or try 10 minutes for 2 weeks. Again, adding it in incrementally if you want to sit longer, but no pressure to sit longer. Okay, no pressure to sit longer. It's just that, if you feel like you do have the time and energy in your life now to really dive in, and you feel like the practice is being beneficial after you've done it a couple days in a row, then feel free to add more time. But I want you to take 2 weeks where you're just committing to starting a home practice. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Okay? But you're going to take 2 weeks to just see for yourself how mindfulness benefits your life. Because I don't want you to take my word for it and what, people on the news or what you're reading in magazines or Women's Health or anything like that is saying. I don't want you to believe anyone but yourself that this practice is beneficial. This is really important. I want you to see for yourself. So don't take my word for it and give yourself the time to prove to yourself that it's beneficial. So 2 weeks is a really good trial period. You should know at the end of 2 weeks if this is something you want to incorporate in your life. Also, this whole having to get up early and switching your morning routine is like, which some of you might be like, no chance. I'm definitely having coffee first. I don't care what she says. Okay, I know you people are out there. I'm sure about that. So I want you to see for yourself to have a good enough chunk of time to see if having coffee before or after makes you more likely to sit or not. Okay, I want you to really do your own science experiment of like, oh no, actually I have to do it first thing. And, oh no, I can make coffee and then I will go sit. So really, like, or if some of you are trying the evenings, seeing if the evenings are working after 3 days of not sitting in the evening, then okay, I need to try the mornings because I only have these 2 weeks. These 2 weeks are my trial period. You're gonna miss a day or two here and there. It's gonna happen because life happens. Okay. You noticed? Unforeseeable things happen and completely derail our routines. It's just how the world is. So don't beat yourself up when you miss a day. If you oversleep, if the kids wake up screaming, if I don't know, who knows? Anything's possible in these days that we're living in. So do not beat yourself up when you miss a day or two, and don't throw the whole thing out the window on like day 3, because you missed day 3. It's fine. You have plenty of time to get back on track. You have 2 weeks. So I really want you to just take these next 2 weeks to see if this practice works for you, what works for you or not, the time of day, the length of time, that chair. Maybe that chair wasn't a good idea. You need to try a different chair. Maybe that spot wasn't conducive and you want to try a different spot in the house. So these 2 weeks are your science experiment time to see what's working and not working in your home practice. And then hopefully after these 2 weeks, you're just off and running, just mindfully meditating at home like you've always done it. Like it's just a thing that you do. You're just a mindfulness meditator. And if it doesn't work after these 2 weeks, fine. Okay. You never meditate again. And when people try to convince you, you're like, yeah, no, I tried it. I did it for 2 weeks. Didn't really work. Didn't help me. Made me anxious. I didn't like it. Whatever it is. It's not for everyone. Okay? So reward yourself. This is another homework assignment for you. So when you finish sitting, so however long it is, if it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's in the mornings, if it's in the evenings, whatever you decide to do, I want you to do some little reward for yourself at the end of it. This is developing this habit of being your own cheerleader, your own coach, your own best friend, like, yay, did it. Whether it's like a little happy dance, you get up and you're like, woo, I meditated, day 5, yeah, go me, go me. This is what I do. You can't tell. I do a little happy dance for myself. If you give yourself a little treat, like sometimes this is why the coffee is good after, because I make myself like a really nice coffee beverage after I finish sitting in the mornings, and that's my little like, I had my nice morning sit. I got up early. Now the sun's out and the birds are out. I drink my coffee. That's my little routine. Whatever it is, maybe just a little piece of dark chocolate. I don't know, whatever works for you. A little cuddle with one of your kids or your spouse or your partner, whoever it is, being like, yay, I did it. I meditated again. A lot of the apps that I'm going to recommend to you, like track how many days in a row, which a lot of people find encouraging. I was like, why are you spying on me? I didn't like the tracking. But some people really do, seeing how many days in a row that they've meditated and then not breaking the streak. You also don't need an app for this. If you just want to make yourself a little calendar for the next 2 weeks and then cross off the day that you meditate, be like, yeah, another day in a row. Woo! I'm a badass. Whatever it is. But this is really important. Don't like gloss this over and be like, this girl's weird. I don't know what she's talking about. This is positive reinforcement. Remember, you're training a puppy. Your mind is like a little puppy. And getting it to sit still for 5 minutes is like a really big deal. I can't even begin to tell you what a big deal it is. So you need to reward the puppy. The puppy needs a little treat for sitting still for 5 minutes. And then it'll want to do it. You can't hit the puppy, right? You can't be like, yeah, of course you sit. Yeah, like that's normal. Waking up early and meditating is like totally normal. I don't know why I would need to reward myself. It's completely not. If everyone were doing this, yeah, I mean, not everyone does this, okay? There are not that many people out there in the world that get up early and sit first thing. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Not everyone does it. It's not easy. And it's totally possible. It's completely possible. There are other people doing it. But if it were like a really easy, comfortable thing to do, like, yeah, everyone would do it. So reward yourself. Really, reward yourself. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a little hug at the end of the sit. Reward and track. Positive reinforcement. Really important, not to be underestimated. So, resources. And again, practice starts now. Today is the day. So I want you to check out some of these guided meditation apps and see what it is that you're going to use for the next 2 weeks. Maybe you want to try a couple different ones. I highly encourage you to check them out now, today, this evening, before day 1 of this meditation challenge. To see what you're going to use in the morning, because it's going to be early and you're going to be sleepy and you're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to. So having that, sorry, that was my dog. I won't make that noise again. Having the apps and the meditation that you're going to use ready to go is just so helpful. Like getting the chair ready, getting the blanket ready, getting the spot ready. You also want to get the app ready, downloaded, know which meditation you're going to do. So here you go. Here's the list of them. Insight Timer, INSIGHT, Insight Timer, it's one word, insighttimer.com. It is free. They have beautiful bells that ring at the end of the meditation that you can select. You can set it up for whatever amount of time. You can adjust the time as needed. It's free. Wonderful, wonderful app. You can just use the timer option, or you can listen to guided meditations. There are hundreds of thousands of guided meditations on Insight Timer. 10% Happier, and the website is 10%, written out, TENPERCENT, 10%, one word, .com. 10%.com is an app that has a lot of guided meditations and courses and all types of things. It is, there is a trial period, which I believe is a week. And then you have to pay for it, but double check this information, go check it out for yourself. But it has excellent guided meditations, courses with some of the best meditation instructors in the world. It's wonderful. The other one that I highly recommend is Waking Up, WAKINGUP, wakingup.com. I believe it is free for a week, also maybe 2 weeks. It might be free now, though. A lot of these things now in this current crisis are free when they weren't before. So wakingup.com is fantastic. There's actually a 45-day intro course. So for 45 days, there is a daily meditation that is different, that is less than 10 minutes. I did that course. I really enjoyed it. Really, really wonderful variety of meditations in that course. And it's the first thing that you do when you download the app. You actually can't access the rest of the app until you do this course. So wakingup.com, I really recommend that. And then on my website, so my name, joslynbhitter.com, I have a bunch of guided meditations. If you go to the page that says Mind, so joslynbhitter.com/mind, MIND. I have a lot of guided meditations. I have a 5-minute mindfulness of breathing. I have a 10-minute mindfulness of breathing, a 10-minute mindfulness of sound. Those are the shorter ones. I think I have a 15-minute body scan meditation. And then the last one that I'll recommend is Sounds True, SOUNDSTRUE.com, SoundsTrue.com. They are a publishing house for a lot of mindfulness meditation books. And so they have a lot of guided meditation courses for purchase. So You can buy a bunch of guided meditations by Jack Kornfield, John Kabat-Zinn, a lot of the leaders in the field. They also have an app. I've never used their app, but it's probably great. And then on YouTube, there are like hundreds of thousands of guided meditations of all different lengths. There's so many, I don't know what I would even recommend on there. I haven't gone that deep into it. The Insight Timer, 10% Happier, Waking Up are all ones that I use regularly. And so I feel very confident recommending those to you. So play around. Do one for a couple days, then do another one. Again, this 2-week period is for you to really check out what's going to work for you. And but get it ready now. Get it ready now. Play with the apps, download them, see what guided meditation you want to start with, and set yourself up now. So when you start, you're ready to go. You got your spot, you know how long you're going to sit for, you know what time of day, you know what guided meditation you're going to use. You're all ready. You know how you're going to reward yourself after. You got your treat ready. The little puppy in your mind's going to need a treat. So, okay. It's my favorite. It's not working. I love when people tell me that. Students tell me that all the time. It's not working. And I even have said that to my teachers. Like, this mindfulness thing is not working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's not working anymore. So there's no such thing as a good meditation. I know, you're devastated. There's no such thing as a good sit. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. There's no good sit. There's also no bad sit. What makes it good? What makes it bad? Nothing. It doesn't exist. There's only the meditation that you do and the meditation that you don't do. That's it. That's how it goes. Either you do the practice or you don't do the practice. The results, what happens next, it's not up to us. All we do is put ourselves in the position. We sit for the amount of time and we do the best we can, and that's it. So there's actually no working or not working. There's no good sit, there's no bad sit. There are sits that we like better than others. There are sits that we find more interesting and pleasant than others. That's the only difference, is whether or not you're getting your preferences met. You will not always get your preferences met. You won't always like it. And that's a wonderful place to look at. That's a wonderful place to start practicing, is when we don't like it. Because we're not actually practicing to feel good all the time. We're practicing to learn how to not act on impulse and be puppeted by our minds. We're learning how to sit no matter what, how to be non-reactive, how to be compassionate with ourselves and with other people, how to have balance and equipoise no matter what the conditions are around us. And that only happens from diligently, ardently, consistently bringing ourselves to our practice. Is it 10% or 10% happier? 10% happier is the book. I think the meditation app is 10%.com, but the book is really great. If you need some inspiration, 10% Happier is the name of the book by Dan Harris. And the meditation app, 10%, is what he developed after the book. I think. But if you try both, see what happens. 10% Happier or 10%.com. But I think when I looked last night, it was just 10%.com. Okay, so now questions. Let's see. Let me just read that again. Why do I practice? What benefits me from my practice? Why do I do this? I ask myself this a lot. Why do I do this with my life? My full-time job being a mindfulness meditation teacher. I've been devoting myself wholeheartedly to mindfulness meditation, which comes out of the tradition of insight meditation. I've done really nothing else with my life for the past 4 years now. Nothing else. Everything is about my practice. Well, if only you had known me then, before I started practicing. Then you would see the benefit. It would be obvious to you. I feel like you should just ask my parents. They could tell you what a hot mess I used to be. No, so what brings me to my cushion every day, brings me to my seat, what benefits me? I'm a lot calmer. I'm a lot less reactive. That's why one of the things I keep mentioning is this equanimity. Equanimity is a natural byproduct, of mindfulness practice, of regularly, consistently practicing mindfulness over a long period of time. Not even a long period of time. It can be after a short period of time too. Just a sense of balance where there's a lot less push-pull in the mind. And I'm really seeing it now with these conditions. My ability to sort of take in the information, I have a lot less reactivity than a lot of other people that I interact with. And that's why through my website, I'm starting to meet with people one-on-one and support people that are really having a lot of reactivity, because I find that that's not what's arising for me. Of course, I'm devastated. I'm heartbroken, and it deeply touches me. The unemployment rates, the amount of deaths that are happening, especially in the marginalized communities, and the lack of infrastructure that we have to really take care of our citizens. I feel the pain of it, but I don't fall into despair. I can stay with the pain in a balanced way. I can stay with the not knowing what's going to happen next. I mean, how long we're going to be living like this? When is this going to end? Are we going to go back to normal? What's normal anyway? Right? I can stay with that. I don't get caught up in it. I understand, it's really difficult to not know. But I've been practicing not knowing for a really long time. Every time I bring myself to my seat to meditate, I don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to be pleasant? Is it not going to be pleasant? I don't know. I have a lot of practice with not knowing and understanding uncertainty. That benefits me. My overall health has also generally improved. My immunity is much better because my nervous system is much more relaxed. My homeostasis, I come back to a settled place much more easily. So I have a lot less inflammation in my system. I used to have a lot of really bad allergies, pretty severe asthma, and my inflammation has really decreased in my system. What about these? Yeah, so Mark, UCLA, the Mindful Awareness Research Center, they have a lot of classes online that are good. I'm not sure that they have guided meditations or that they have an app that they use, but they do have online classes. And Diana Winston, who is one of the founding and guiding teachers of Mindful Awareness Research Center, she has guided meditations and courses on the 10% Happier app. So she does a lot of work with Dan Harris. You can find guided meditations from her on that app. And yeah, if there's any more questions, please type them into the Q&A box. I'll just reflect for a minute on other questions that I normally get. Yeah, I would just really encourage you not to beat yourself up when you miss a day, not to think that everything's gone horribly wrong. and that this practice is not for you, really stick with it. It's just 2 weeks, then you can never meditate again. And use these 2 weeks to really try things and see what works for you. Um, what about retreats? Yeah, well, all retreat centers are currently closed because it's a large group of people. But when or if this all goes away and retreat centers open again, that's a wonderful way to really deepen your practice. I highly recommend having a very steady and dedicated home practice before you go on a meditation retreat, because on a meditation retreat, all you will do will be sitting meditation, walking meditation, all day long. So is it a good idea? It definitely is a good idea to have a steady, dedicated home practice before you dive into the cauldron that is a meditation retreat. But it's a wonderful way to deepen your practice and to bring that sort of liveliness and vitality and depth of practice back into your home practice when you come back from retreat. It's also a good way to meet fellow meditators and really like sit with other people. But what's wonderful about this time period is that you can have a home retreat. I feel like I'm on a home retreat right now. I don't know what the difference is really between a home retreat and a quarantine. We have all the time in the world right now if we're not also raising children and working from home. To really dedicate ourselves to the practice. So it's a great time to start a home practice that will really carry you forward. So Spirit Rock Meditation Center, spiritrock.org, has live stream events. They've taken all of their retreats online. And that includes day-long retreats and their residential retreats for the time being. I think the residential retreats are full right now. Their calendar is only until April 15th at the moment. But the day-longs that they have and the sitting groups and classes that they offer regularly have all moved online. So spiritrock.org, you can find a lot of events there. And Insight LA, insightla.org, Insight LA Meditation Center, local meditation community in Los Angeles. They've moved all of their classes online, and I teach classes there regularly. And there's wonderful, wonderful teachers there that you can sit with. So insightla.org would be a great place to find some online mindfulness events, classes, day-long retreats, things like that. Insight Meditation Society, which is located in Barre, Massachusetts, is doing guided meditations online every day on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and then follow Insight Meditation Society, they have a daily meditation that you can do with them. And 10% Happier also has a daily meditation that happens at noon on the West Coast. They call it a sanity break. I've been doing those regularly. And then, there's a lot of people offering guided meditations on IG, on Instagram Live, and things like that. So what I recommend is that if you go to something like 10% Happier, Insight Timer, Waking Up, one of those apps I recommended, and you start listening to some guided meditations by certain teachers, and you like those teachers, then go to those teachers' websites or follow them on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, whatever social media you use, and they're probably offering something online right now that you could take, that you could sign up for. So it's 3:55. Let me just double check if there's anything else. Yeah. So Shannon, that's insightla.org for the classes for Insight LA. Yeah. So it was really my pleasure to share with you all of this. And again, you can go to my website and you can email me if you have any more questions. If anything's coming up, if you're having like, it's not working moments, they will happen. Feel free to email me directly. I'm happy to support you during this time. Like I said, we have very unusual conditions and circumstances right now. And it's a really good opportunity to practice. And if you can develop a steady home practice right now, it'll be such a beautiful support to wherever life takes you. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next? But we can know what's happening right now. And that is the sincere gift of mindfulness practice. It's just knowing what's happening right now, being able to rest in the present moment, because everything is okay right now. Just right now, just this moment, it's okay. We don't have to lean in and worry about what's going to happen next. We can just rest in this moment where things are relatively okay. We just might not like it. It's okay. So that's the beauty and the gift of mindfulness. And I'm so delighted to share it with you all. And I just want to give you just a little shout out. Like, may you all be safe. May you all be healthy. May you all be protected. Even though I can't see your faces, I'm holding you in my heart and I'm wishing you all well. Okay. Be well, dear ones. And I hope to see you again around the center someday. It'll happen. Okay. Bye, everyone.